Hey guys, Tim here from Shadow Gamers. We're here today with my VehicRoid deck profile. It's not a meta deck or anything, but it's a deck that I really like and have a lot of fun with. Let's get into it. So I play 3 VehicRoid. So his effect is you contribute 1 machine monster, special summon 1 non-wind roid monster from your deck. You can pay half your life points and banish any number of machine monsters from your graveyard, including this card, special summon from your extra deck 1 roid monster with the same level as the number of those banished monsters, ignoring its summoning conditions. So I use him for his fusion effect, and I usually go for like some of the bigger ones like VehicRoid and like Jumbo Drill. Next one is 3 VehicRoid. So his effect is you can, if this card attacks the defense position, monster, destroy the monster and without applying any damage calculation. So pretty much he just attacks into a defense and destroys it. Next is VehicRoid. So his effect is when this card is destroyed as a result of battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon from your deck 1 machine type monster with attack 1500 or less. So for him I'd probably go for one of these guys, little ambulance roids or your main express roid. He's also used in the UFO roid fighter, but I haven't added that in yet. Next is just a basic stick steamroid. So his effect is if this card attacks your opponent's monster, increase the attack of this card by 500 points during the damage step only. So he pretty much just goes up to a big beat stick. He's also necessary for the steam gyroid. Next, this one might be a little bit weird, I've never seen one play it, but I really like it, is VehicRoid. So his effect is when an opponent activates a card's effect that targets and destroys a spell card you control, you can discard 1 card to negate this card's activation. So he's a good little negator. Next we're into the 2 obs. So I play 2 ambulance roid. So his effect is when a roid monster is added from your graveyard to your hand, you can special summon that monster. Next 2 submarineroids. So he's got a little sneaky attack. So it says this card can attack your opponent directly. When it does, any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent becomes the original attack of this card. You can change the card defense position at the end of the damage step. So really you summon him, attack directly, and then just put him in defense. Little sneak attack type thing. Next is probably one of the better cards of the deck, but I won't play 3 of it. Express Roid. So his effect is when he's summoned, he can add 2 Roid monsters from the grave to the hand. So he's good to pair with Rescue Roid. So when they're added to the hand, because of Ambulance Roid's effect, you can summon the 2 that you return to the hand from the Express Roid. Next is Rescue Roid. So his effect is while this card is face up on your side of the field, when a roid monster on your side of the field is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can return that monster to the hand. So he sort of pairs with the ambulance roid. So when it's destroyed and you have the ambulance roid on the field, his effect activates, sending it to the hand, and then the ambulance roid allows you to special summon it. Sorry about the mess up there. Got a bit of retard brain. Next is VehicRoid. So his effect is once per turn, this card can't be destroyed by battle. So he's just basically a blocker. But you need him to summon the Steam VehicRoid because he's extra fusion. I play the 1 of VehicRoid. So let's pick up and look at 1 set card on your opponent's side of the field, then return it to its original position. You can only activate the effect once per turn during your main phase. So really he just lets you see one of your opponent's face down cards, which can be really helpful. Next I play a Stealth Roid. So this card's attack If this card attacks, destroy one spell or trap card at the end of the battle phase if you control another Roid monster. So he's just some more spell and trap removal. Play a VehicRoid. So at the time this card is selected as an attack target by your opponent's monster, the controller of this card can activate trap cards in their hand. So really it lets you, activate a mirror force or something like that from your hand. So it's not bad. Next I play a VehicRoid. So when this card destroys a monster your opponent controls by battle and sends it to the graveyard, equip it to this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined of the attack equipped cards. So he just keeps equipping extra cards if he destroys them. So he really just becomes another big beat stick and stops your opponent from having stuff in the in the grave. Next I play the big beater, VehicRoid. If this card is tribute summoned by tributing at least one Roid monster, banish all spell and trap cards on the field. So he's good to remove your opponent's back row if they're playing something like Paleozoic, or not like you'd ever verse anything with this, but yeah. Next, probably one of the most important spells, VehicRoid Connection Zone. So this is your polymerization for your fusions. So this card reads, send to the graveyard from your side of the field hand or your hand fusion material monsters that are listed on a VehicRoid monster, and special summon that fusion monster from the fusion deck. Fusion monster special summoned by this effect cannot be destroyed by effects of spells, traps, or effect monsters, and if effects cannot be investigated. Next I play 3 VehicRoid City. So that's your field spell. So this says you can target one other card on you control, destroy it, and if you do, add one Roid card from your deck to your hand. During damage calculation, if your Roid monster battles, you can send one Roid monster from your deck to the grave, switch the original attack and defense of the battling monster during the damage calculation only. You can only activate once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters at the turn you activate. So it's like a sort of like a trade. So you could get out your UFO Roid or something like if you're in a bit of a pinch, or you could even get your VehicRoid out, or something you need, you're looking for to fuse, and you could send a Roid to the grave to make your opponent's attack and defense swap. So that can come in handy. Next is your generic monster reborn, shield, crush for defense, just for a bit of nostalgia. Spell and trap removal, twin twisters, limiter removal, it's a machine deck. Another important type of fusion card is Power Bond. So what it reads is, send from your hand or side of the field to the graveyard the fusion is listed on a monster that are listed on a fusion type fusion monster card, and special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck. It gains attack equal to its original attack, so really it doubles its attack. But the only downside to it is you take damage equal to half that monster's attack at the end of the turn. But if you're going for something like Barbaroid, for instance, or even your Stealth Union, it's pretty well, you're only going to do it to the end of the game. Next to play another one, Overload Fusion. So you can fusion summon one Dark Machine monster. Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing your fusion listed on it from the field. Just another extra fusion to all the spells. Into the traps, I play 2 Emergency Roid Core. So when a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a Roid fusion monster, and you get the activation to send all cards with the same name as that card from the activating player's deck and extra deck to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your hand. Then target one Roid monster from your graveyard, add that card to your hand. So you can banish it to add Roid monster from the grave and negate something that your opponent does. A bit more nostalgia, a Cyber Summon Blaster. So each time machine monster is special summon, inflict 300 push damage to your opponent. Then I'll play 2 Wonder Garage. So when this face down Card destroyed and sent to the graveyard. You can special summon 1 level 4 or lower machine type Roid monster from your hand. So it's an extra little summoner. And then I play last of the traps 2 supercharge, activated when your opponent declares an attack. Or the only monsters when you sell the field are machine type monsters, Roid monsters, draw 2 cards. So it's a helpful little, you know, draw 2. Under the fusions, I play 2 pair Cyroid, you know, because they're level 5, you know. They're pretty generic, but they can attack directly, and it's, you know, it's funny. Next I'll play 2 Stealth Union. So his effect reads, once per turn you can target 1 face-up non-machine monster on the field. Equip that target to this card. While equipped with a monster by this effect, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card attacks, its original attack is halved. If this card attacks a defense special monster, inflict piercing battle damage. So essentially you could target one of your opponent's monsters, equipping to this, and then attack the rest of his monsters. Next I play 2 Super VehicRoid Jumbo Drill. So his reads, a fusion summon of this card can only be conducted with the above fusion material monsters. During battle between this attacking card and defense position card, whose defense is lower than the attack, this card inflict piercing battle damage. So he's just sort of a big beast, so they'll run over defense monsters. Next 2 Ambulance Rescue Roids. So this monster cannot be special summoned except by a fusion summon. Once per turn, when a monster on your side of the field is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon that monster in defense position. So essentially he'll, you know, he'll bring back monsters that have been destroyed, sort of like he'll add the cards from VehicRoid. So he pretty much does what Express Roid and VehicRoid does, but in the same turn. Next, a Steam Gyroid, just for a beat stick. Then I play the 1 Barbaroid, and you summon him more than likely off of the Mixeroid's effect. So this card reads, this card can make a second attack during the battle phase. This card cannot attack your opponent directly. After damage calculation, if this card is attacked, an opponent's monster, negate the effects of all monsters, including in the graveyard. If this card destroys an opponent's monster battle, inflict 1000 points of damage. So he'll destroy something, you know, during battle he'll attack, destroy it, negate the effects in grave of, you know, something like Sky Striker Ray, so won't be able to use its effect, and then he'll also inflict an extra 1000. And then I just play the 1 of the Super VehicRoid Mobile Base. This is, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon 1 Roid monster from your deck or extra deck with attack less or equal to that monster. You can only use the effect of Super VehicRoid Mobile Base once per turn. Once per turn during the end phase, you can target 1 Roid monster in your main monster zone other than this card. Return that monster you control to the hand, and if you do, move this card you control to that monster zone. So essentially he could move around the board, you know, stopping stuff like Imperm or, you know, some magical musket effects. And yeah, you know, he's a 5k defender, so it's pretty hard to get over. So yeah, that's my deck profile. Hope you enjoyed. If you got any more ideas about what I should do with it or something like that, just leave a comment. Thanks.